In 1943, the Allies faced a deadly problem. They needed to invade Sicily to open a new front in Europe, but the island was a heavily fortified German stronghold. A direct assault would be a massacre for Allied forces. The only hope was deception. They had to convince the German high command that the real target was somewhere else entirely. But how do you pass a convincing lie directly to the enemy's top brass? The answer came from a bizarre document known as the Trout Memo, which detailed outlandish ways to deceive an enemy. One idea stood out: planting false papers on a dead body, an idea so grim and audacious it just might work. Thus, Operation Mincemeat was born. Led by intelligence officers Ewan Montagu and Charles Cholmondeley, the plan was simple in concept but staggeringly complex in execution. First, they needed a body, one with no family to ask questions. They found their man in Glyndwr Michael, a homeless man who had tragically died after ingesting rat poison. Crucially, the cause of death left few marks on the body, making a death by drowning at sea entirely plausible. Glyndwr Michael was about to be reborn. The team created a completely new identity for him: Captain William Bill Martin of the Royal Marines. He was given a rank, a history, and a personality, all from scratch. This included a photograph of his fictional fiancée Pam, love letters, ticket stubs from a London theater, and even a stern letter from his bank manager. Every detail was designed to paint a picture of a real, breathing person. This authenticity was critical. If the Germans suspected for a second that the man was a plant, the entire Allied invasion strategy would be compromised. The most important item was a briefcase chained to the body's wrist. Inside was the bait: expertly forged letters between two British generals, discussing plans for an imminent Allied invasion of Greece and Sardinia, deliberately misdirecting from Sicily. The body was dressed in his full Royal Marines uniform. The team worked through the night, a somber and surreal task. They were not just dressing a corpse, they were creating a hero who would save lives after his own had ended. To preserve the body for its journey, it was sealed in a custom-built, airtight canister filled with dry ice. The canister was labeled "Handle with care, optical instruments," to avoid suspicion on its journey to the coast. The canister and its precious cargo were loaded onto the submarine HMS Seraph. The crew was told only that they were transporting a top-secret meteorological device. Only the captain knew the canister's true, macabre contents. On April 30th, 1943, the Seraph reached its destination off the coast of Huelva, Spain. Spain was officially neutral, but crawling with German spies, making it the perfect place for the documents to be discovered and passed to the right people. After a brief, poignant prayer for the man they knew as Major Martin, the officers gently pushed the canister into the sea. They opened it and slid the body into the tide, ensuring the briefcase was still firmly attached. The body, now floating lifelessly, began its slow drift towards shore. The submarine slipped back beneath the waves, its mission complete. Now everything depended on chance, currents, and the enemy's own intelligence network. Hours later, a local Spanish fisherman named José Antonio Rey Maria spotted the body floating in the water. Believing it to be a drowned Allied airman, he hauled it into his boat and reported it to the local authorities. The news spread quickly through the port town. As predicted, it reached the ears of Adolf Klaus, a meticulous and highly effective German intelligence agent operating in Huelva. He immediately understood the potential value of the discovery. The Spanish authorities took possession of the body and the briefcase. Under pressure from the British, who feigned outrage over the missing officer, they agreed to a quick autopsy. It was a crucial moment of tension for the planners back in London. Meanwhile, German intelligence was working feverishly behind the scenes. They persuaded sympathetic Spanish officials to allow them a secret, brief look at the contents of the briefcase before it was returned to the British. The film was rushed to Madrid, then flown to Berlin. The documents landed on the desks of the highest levels of the German Abwehr, their intelligence service. The information seemed genuine, a catastrophic lapse in British security. The intelligence was so explosive it was sent directly to Adolf Hitler himself at his Wolf's Lair headquarters. He studied the reports, the photographs of the letters, and the analysis from his top commanders. Hitler was completely fooled. He was convinced that the documents were real and that the main Allied attacks would fall on Greece and Sardinia. The consequences were immediate and massive. Hitler ordered elite panzer divisions to be moved from France to Greece. He sent torpedo boats to the Greek islands and reinforced German garrisons all over the Balkans. All of this diverted critical resources and manpower away from the real target. Sicily, which should have been a fortress, was left significantly weakened, its defenses thinned out just as the Allies were preparing to strike. On July 9, 1943, the Allies launched Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily. They were met with lighter-than-expected resistance. The German and Italian defenders, caught by surprise, were overwhelmed by the massive Allied force. The deception had been a stunning success. Operation Mincemeat is estimated to have saved thousands of Allied lives and significantly shortened the campaign in Sicily. The fall of the island led directly to the downfall of Mussolini and the Italian surrender. Back in London, Ewan Montagu received a coded telegram confirming the enemy had swallowed the bait. The relief in the secret halls of the Admiralty was immeasurable, and what of the man who made it all possible? Glyndwr Michael, the man who became Major Martin, was buried with full military honors in the cemetery in Huelva, Spain. His headstone bore the name of his fictional identity. It was not until 1996 that the British government officially identified the body as that of Glyndwr Michael. An inscription was added to the headstone, recognizing the quiet, unwitting hero who changed the course of the war. Operation Mincemeat remains one of the most audacious, creative, and successful deception operations in military history. It proves that sometimes the most powerful weapon of war isn't a bomb or a bullet, but a brilliantly crafted story.